All right, guys, let's dive into today. Today is Monday, March 25th. Let's talk about today. Well, today was our big day, the start of the small account challenge. And as you guys know, I'm so fired up and I'm still, so energetic to be here and be able to work with you guys. But it was not, our prime trading conditions that we really wanted to see so far, right? Things have been a little bit slower. Now, there's good reasons for that, and we always want to understand that, right? We have our Dekmar Trades morning newsletter that every trader is supposed to be getting. If you guys are not getting your morning newsletter in your emails, if it's not in your inbox, if it's not in your junk or spam mail, make sure that you guys are, of course, hitting up that blue one-on-one support chat so you guys are getting it. Just ask them for the morning newsletter to be added to the list, and we'll make sure that you guys are added. No problem whatsoever. Other than that, what did we see? Why was it a little bit slower? Well, first things first, guys, look at Friday's market, right? Look at Friday's market. We could see this is like a big tomato right here, right? This is, absolutely a red complete day right here. And why was that? Well, we could see if we go back right here at SPY, we had a big drop off on Friday. We actually went from around this 284 mark on Thursday, fell all the way down to 279, about $5 worth right here, and then we came all the way back on down towards around 278. So we could see this is very, very low from the past 3 trading sessions. Now, if we look at this and we look at the market briefing, following the second worst day of 2019 on Friday, stocks are struggling in an attempt to rebound as the new week begins. U.S. stock futures are slightly higher this morning after the second worst day of 2019. Futures have been in the wake of Friday's sell-off and the weekend release of the Robert Mueller report of the Russia investigation, right? So we saw that over the weekend. Over the weekend, they came out with this Mueller report, and they stated that Trump does not have any sort, or they do not have any sort of evidence against Trump for any sort of manipulation to the polls or working with Russia whatsoever. But since that was, going into the weekend, we did start seeing a little bit of a sell-off on Friday. Whenever people get concerned, whenever people get nervous, we usually start seeing selling. We usually start seeing pullbacks. We usually see the SPY drop a few points. It's the same exact thing, coming up with, China trade talks. If we have, good relationships with China, guess what happens? We'll see the SPY get a nice, pop on up. We'll see the SPY get a nice rip. We'll see our economy do very, very well. But if we start seeing what? If we start seeing, hey, we're still not reaching any sort of deal, this is not looking good, people get scared, people get concerned, we start seeing selling, right? Now you may say to yourself, whoa, Dek, is this anything to be nervous about? I feel like whenever we see some sort of red day, people are, automatically freaking out. Oh, this is, the worst thing. This is the start of the recession. It's the Great Depression. No, look how high we are. We are all the way up, towards 278 right now. The highest the stock market has ever been is all the way up here, right around 294, right? We had our strong pullback. We had our strong correction, right at the end of 2018. We have been beasting these past 2 months now, right? We've went all the way from 233 all the way back on up towards around 285. Right here, we're having a pullback. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we fall back down to the 200-day moving average, maybe within time, because we've been moving up so high. But with that being said, what do I want you guys to understand? It's okay. It's okay. We're not going to go straight up forever. We're going to have pullbacks. There's going to be red days. There's going to be green days. But when is the penny stock market the hottest? The penny stock market is the hottest when there's not as much action going on the SPY, right? When there's not as much action going on the SPY. What was the slowest month of penny stock trading? December. And why was December the slowest month of penny stock trading? Because we came all the way down towards 233. Look at this massive dropping right here, right? Look how much this thing was dropping off. So if we see, a huge dropping off, people are scared, people are concerned, and on top of that, people are going to be looking to short the market. People are going to be looking to play options and contracts and be laying down puts, right? So with that being said, when we have a lot of action on the SPY, and we have a hot day on the SPY, either on the buying side or selling side, traders are not going to be involved in the penny stock market. When's the best time to get involved in the penny stock market? When do we see the best rips, the best runs? These nice little slow green days. Maybe a little green day here, a little red day here, nice little green day here, a little red day here, nice little green day here, nice little red day. Not, complete drop-in, right? Not complete, falling off the map right here. That's what we don't want. We like this. We like nice, easy climbs. We move on up, we have a little pullback. We move on up, we have a little pullback. We move on up, we have a little pullback. We have a move on up, we have a little bit of a pullback. Because people are saying, hey, there's not really too much going on in on these bigger plays right now. We don't really have too much action right now. So whenever we have small little green days in the SPY, guess what? We usually have small little green days on the bigger plays, small little green days on Amazon, small little green or red days on Apple, small little green days on any of those big time plays, right? So that's what we always want to, be understanding. When there's small little plays on the SPY, people are going to say, hey, there's not much money here today. Let's go play microcaps. Let's go play these penny stocks. And that's when we see huge waves of volume. That's when we see huge waves of activity, right? But when we have the second worst red day of 2019, what does that sound like to people? Oh, time for me to go look for some shorting up on these bigger plays. Time for me to maybe go look for some puts on these bigger plays. Maybe try to, continue out with this little bit of a run. But, that's just for today. And as you can see right here, we have a nice little doji star forming on the SPY. And if we have an SPY, doji star start forming, what's going to happen? We could definitely see a nice green candle come on up, right? Don't you guys know all about doji star candles? And I'm not saying that this is where the SPY is going to finish at. But if we do have a doji star right here, what do we know? It's a reversal candle. So if a stock is moving on up to a doji, we know that it's going to reverse and come back on down. But if we have a doji star at the bottom, that means, again, the stock can start reversing, start moving its way back on up. So, for instance, if we look right here, doji star, start falling, falling, falling. Doji star forms. The stock, gets a nice move and starts going back on up, right? If we have a nice little climb, though, doji star starts forming, starts coming back on down. So I just put, doji star and stocks. And you see, this is what we always like to look at. We got a doji star right here. This is at the top, the bearish, but we also have a bullish. Doji stars if they're at the bottom. Come on down, doji star starts moving back on up, right? Just like here. So, that's something we always want to be able to understand. The SPY already starting to move on up a little bit. So again, is today slow? And is it going to stay slow? Most likely not. But on Friday, it was a tough day. On Friday, people were concerned before any reports came out. And guess what? The reports are absolutely fine. So, on top of that, last week, we also had a Fed's meeting. And Jerome Powell came out and said this is 2018 was one of the best years we've had in over a decade. So right now, we're in a great, place, a very strong economy right now. He also stated we're in inflation. We're right next to our 2% goal. So there was a little bit of worry, right on Friday going into the weekend. I understand that. But everything seems like it's calming down now. SPY is starting to move its way back on up. And this is going to definitely, hopefully, get traders out of here, bring them back down to our market. But today I was kind of expecting it to be a little bit more of the slower side because people are still going to focus on those trades. People are still going to focus a little bit more on these bigger boys right here, right? People are going to focus a little bit more up high towards maybe a little bit of options rather than penny stocks just to see if they can make a quick buck. But once what happens, things start slowing down again, everyone's coming back down to the penny stock world. And all it takes is one rip. All it takes is one run. All it takes is one breakout until people say, hey, we're back to it, right? Because we've been seeing massive breakouts. Massive breakouts weekly, massive breakouts daily in the penny stock world. And once we get one, all the activity is going to flood right back over towards it. All right? So even with our small account, what's my strategy right now? Well, you guys know kind of my big strategy that I've been talking about, and I'll be going over that again this afternoon. If you guys have not watched that YouTube presentation I did, I will be going over that again this afternoon, and I will talk about my whole entire strategy. But what's my strategy for today right now? Most likely, I'm not going to be trading until I see volume move into the penny stock market again, right? And how do I know penny stock market's going to be getting volume? Once I see a breakout. Once I see one nice low flow breakout, a nice dollar rip, a nice $1.50 rip, I know, okay, traders are back here, then I can go after and play it, right? It's just a little bit of assurance. It gives me that little confidence boost. Because guess what? There are many plays I could have tried to buy today, and I wouldn't end up losing, or taking a loss, excuse me. I would have ended up losing on if I hopped in on these plays thinking, hey, it's Monday, thinking, hey, traders are going to buy, thinking, hey, I'm not understanding market conditions. You can't do the same thing every day. The past month, the sad thing is, guys, the past month has been absolutely crazy, right? Crazy with giant rips, giant runs, giant spikes. But if you do the same exact strategy that you do right now with what maybe you did the past month, you may end up losing because you're not adapting, right? And I see it all the time. I get this email all the time when people say, "Hey, Dek, you know, I've been winning nonstop, winning. But then this past week, I've been giving back all my gains. I haven't changed anything, so I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I haven't changed anything, so what's the problem here? The problem is you haven't changed anything. That is the problem. They're saying, I'm not doing anything different. I'm still, trading the same way, the same shares, the same patterns. That's the problem, though. I teach you these patterns for breakouts with hot volume. These patterns don't break out without any sort of hot volume, right? So you guys need to wait for that volume to come through. And if you do the same thing over and over and over again, and without understanding market conditions, that's where you lose. That's where you're going to get in trouble. That's where you're going to find yourself saying, hey, you know what? Why didn't the stock break out? I just took a loss. Got to wait for that volume. So what were some of the plays that we could have bought today that we may have ended up taking a loss on? CRIS, right? CRIS, this was a play that came out and just dumped. Now, we have seen this so many times, guys. It's like one of my biggest pet peeves. If you, we couldn't do it this morning because we were running a little bit late because I had so much to go over. But we always take a morning poll in the morning, and a lot of times people always vote for the number one top gainer to be the best runner, best ripper today. But usually, what happens? The number one top gainer is usually just the biggest short, usually the biggest sell-off, usually the biggest dump. Anything that gaps up like above 60% turns into what? A giant red candle. Boom. It just dumps on off, right? Turns into a giant red candle. Boom. KBSF. MCUR. Giant red candle. Boom. Just dumps on off right here. Right? THST. Boom. Just because a stock has a gap up does not mean it's a good candle, right? Does not mean it's a good trade. Who cares if it has a gap up? That means that it was already bought up. But we always got to do what? We always got to trust our eyes, right? As a trader, as a person, we got our sense of taste, hearing, touch, smell, visuals, right? What do we always, trust though? Our eyes. Seeing is believing. So the moment we see, up 100%, that's great. Oh, the stock is spiking. Yes, but it probably already did its spike. You're too late now, right? What I've been saying, if you're any first or last. So what happens? You get a dump here, people lose. You get a dump here, people lose. You get a dump here, people lose. And you get a dump here, people lose. So always understand that. Now we could see, is this a big press release? CRIS, is this a big press release right here? March 25th came out and says sells portion of its company for $135 million. That's not bad. Sells a portion of its company for $135 million. President and CEO says, we are pleased to announce the agreement with this other company right here. No, that's not a bad press release. And that's why it went on a nice rip, right? I'm not, dissing this press release at all. This is a very nice press release, and this went on a very nice climb. But where was the climb? Climb was in pre-market, right? At 8:30. At 8:30, went on a beautiful rip and went on a beautiful climb. But guess what? After it runs 100%, people are saying, I don't really know how much more I want of this, right? After a stock runs 100%, people are like, are you going to buy this high? No, not really. Yeah, me neither. Right? And then it doesn't, go anywhere else. And that's where it just came crashing on down. So you got to be careful here, right? We definitely want to be smart. We definitely want to be safe. What else did we see today? AETI. This is a good pattern, right? We talked about this one throughout the whole entire morning. AETI right here, this one's, looking for that $1 breakout pattern, right? $1 breakout pattern, a low float pattern with a stock breaking $1 who hasn't been able to break $1 for the past few months. And what we could see right here, as we come up to $1, we could see we could get up to $2. We can see this stock could run all the way up to 206. We could see all the way up to 350. We could see 280. We could see 195. It takes a couple days, but AETI has that potential. But what's the big issue with AETI? AETI, what's the reason other than maybe just the pattern? It doesn't have any sort of news, right? There's no sort of news on this. Last filing was February 14th. So we're not really seeing too much at this time on AETI, unfortunately. And that's why it is starting to fall its way back on down. So CRIS is just too overbought. AETI display, isn't holding up right now just because it doesn't have any news and we are in a tougher time. What else? Well, my favorite play so far this morning, or the one that I was able to see the best, was CYCC. I actually alerted this one at 7 a.m. right when it was at $1 and said, "Hey, this is probably the best 7 a.m. press release. Keep your eyes on high alert." And it ran all the way up to 140. And why did this one run all the way up to 140? Well, if we look at CYCC right here, we could see our news. And our news right here at March 25th, it says what? We have a publication talking about key resistance pathway to breast cancer, right? And we're talking about our treatment right here. What also is very important that everyone should know, you guys have this italics bold, right? Whenever you have italics bold, we know right away that's probably going to get some hype towards it. Companies put this italics bold because they want you to see this right at the start, talking about phase 3, their 3 study, talking about this therapy that they have, right? They have breast cancer treatments. Those are some big key words, right? We have the word 3-star word cancer. Also another 3-star word treatment. We also have another 3-star word phase 3, right? So this is a good keyword. Now with that being said, it's not talking about positive results. It's talking about a publication, and the word publication kind of ruins it a little bit. But with that being said, I was still expecting some good volume to move in on this, and that's where it went from $1 shot all the way up to 140. Right? Those are some good keywords right there. And, it could not hold up. It did come back on down like many other stocks did today because it couldn't get the volume. But hey, it got a nice rip. It got a nice run. It got some good activity there. So, that was not too shabby whatsoever at all. So, with that being said, it did not get any sort of hype, but that was another, pre-market play. So another pre-market play. So I'm just looking to see if this has anything else. If we're really missing anything today, because today has been a little bit slower. More of just some uptrends that have been forming. More of some plays that are trying to set themselves up. YOGA has a nice 13 EMA 200-day moving average squeeze. AXSM has been doing well. AXSM has been, being a nice consistent climber. I remember playing the stock all the way back in January. Came out with phase 2 trials, and it's really just because the stock has just been moving on up, and finally got a little squeeze pattern, got a nice break, and got a little run on up. Right? It's not like there's too much going on with news. There's not any sort of news. It's just been a nice consistent climber that's getting higher and higher. But with that being said, the RSI is a little bit high now. If we want to go over to www.stockcharts.com, that's a free website for you guys to be able to check out different chart setups and such. And you guys want to type in AXSM, what can we see? We can see right here has an 80 on the RSI. Usually when we get above an 80 or an 85, we do start seeing some stronger pullbacks. So, we'll definitely keep that on watch. But today was a good day. It was a good slow day to kind of get into the small count challenge. I'm actually a little happy it was a little bit slower today. Right? I'm a little bit happy it was a little bit slower today. And that's just because the fact I wanted to be able to talk to you guys today. I wanted to be able to get everyone on the right mindset. I wanted to go over all the chat rules. I wanted to make sure you guys understand what you guys are going to get here at the small count challenge. I wanted to talk about all the great features we have. I want to talk about the community. So I'm good to kind of get everyone on the same mindset so that, now that we progress, we're all ready to rock and roll. So I'm fired up about that. And I hope you guys are as well, because today's day one. And guess what? While day one may be a little bit on the slower side, there's going to be days, possibly 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe so on and so forth, that are going to be extremely hot. We're going to be trading. We're going to be making money. You're going to be getting an education. You're going to be in the best community around. And again, we're going to absolutely kill it. So again, thank you so much for everyone who has joined us so far. An awesome job so far this morning. Does anybody have any sort of questions on that recap? So if you guys have any questions on that recap, please ask in a chat, and I'll be more than happy to help you.